we're going to talk about the relationship between big army commands versus special operations soldiers. I recently watched a video by Cody Alford. Shout out to Cody, solid dude, former MARSOC raider, right? If you guys haven't seen his channel, make sure you go check it out. We'll link the video in the pinned comments for you guys. But in that video, he was discussing why big military hate special operations, right? And hate is a very strong word. However, I've witnessed some of this myself, right? He was talking about why, for example, big army. This segment is brought to you by the Dog Hearts Coffee Company. Fascinated by the covert world of special operation, I decided once I retired to go visit some of the places that I only used to read about in the intelligence report. I noticed one common theme: coffee. It's everywhere. You have the coffee shops, you have the coffee farms. So what I decided to do was capture all that data, capture all that raw footage. And I compiled it all on a QR code in the back of this coffee bag. And I want to share it all with you, right? The tasting of the coffee farm, the places where intel operative drink coffee while they're out there doing work. All of it captured right here on the back of this coffee. And right now, guys, every bag of coffee sold, 10% of the proceeds will go to the Dog Hearts Coffee Foundation, a foundation that I founded geared towards helping house homeless vet. The 82nd, the 101st, why those command teams don't like special operations soldiers, right? On the Navy side, why big Navy doesn't like Navy SEALs, why big Marine doesn't like MARSOC, why big Air Force doesn't like combat controllers, etc., etc. And there's several different reasons why that can be, right? Now, when we say command, I'm talking about like the guys in charge. I've had nothing but great experiences with some of the lower enlisted guys that I've served with. For example, platoon sergeants and below, staff sergeant and below. Like, those guys are normally chill, man, especially when we're down range. For example, I remember in 2014, we're deployed to Berets, right? We're running commandos. And right next to us was Fob Lightning. I can't remember the name of the unit that was there, but we were at Fob Nevins. Fob Lightning was right there. And we had our own little base camp where we would do hood things, right? So me as an 18 Charlie, I would always go over to the big army side because I had to make friends with supply, right? And while I was over there, it was just business as usual, man. Like, I was clean shaving. I looked like a soldier. I go over there and I hang out and I politic and I bullshit with big army leaders, right? Because that's what, as an SF guy, that was part of what I needed to do to make sure that my guys were taken care of. Same thing with the rest of my guys. For example, my Camo guy, he would go to the S6 shops and hang out, right? My Bravos would go to the S3 shop and rub elbows because, again, if you look at SF on how it's built, every job on the Special Forces team has a S shop function, right? So, for example, 18 Delta, S1. He's the admin guy on the team, right? 18 Fox, S2, Intel. 18 Bravo, S3, right? 18 Charlie, S4, etc., etc. So we would go to big army and just rub elbows with those other functions just to make sure that the team was always in the known and was always taken care of, right? Those guys loved us and we loved them. However, it wasn't always the case with their leaders, right? And there's a couple of reasons why that can be. The leaders, from their perspective, right, we were intimidated, right? One, we look a certain way, right? When it comes to good order and discipline, when we're down range, none of that shit exists, man. Like, when we're down range, we look rough, right? Guys grew out their beards, right? Guys wear certain uniforms. Like, it was very lax. And when we go on a big army installation, that's typically not the case, right? You can tell big army from special operations. So when the leaders, when the first sergeants and the sergeant majors, when they would see us, they would talk shit about us. It is what it is, right? They would talk crap. They would say, oh, those guys over there, they need to get a haircut, they need to get beards, they need to cut their beards, etc., etc. So there's always animosity when it comes to that. And of course, your lower enlisteds, they see that and it's like, oh, that's so freaking cool, right? They want to do that. They want to be like that, right? Which leads us to number 2 as far as why big army commands aren't big fan of soft, because at times they lose their best talents to special forces, right? In my opinion, it should be a good thing, right? If I'm a first sergeant, if I'm a sergeant major and I have this high speed E4 and E5, that's crushing it for me, right? He's my go-to. He's fire and forget, right? why wouldn't I want that guy to go better himself? Why wouldn't I want to elevate him? However, a lot of leaders have that selfish mentality. They was like, oh, that guy's mine. If he leaves, my missions won't get accomplished. If he leaves, my squad's not going to be the best anymore. If he leaves, my team won't be like it used to be, right? A lot of guys have that mindset. And for that, they don't want Soft coming around, because when we're around and this high-speed E4 sees us and he starts speaking with us and we're like, dude, you're squared away. Like, go to selection. Like, go push yourself. Go be the best version of you. And of course, he's like, yeah, I should go do that. But in the leader's mindset, that first on that Sergeant Major, he's like, I don't want to lose my best guy because I want to be able to accomplish my mission over here. If I lose all my best guys to Special Forces, I'm left with a bunch of dirtbags. And in my opinion, that's a wrong mindset to have. So that's another reason why big army leaders, big army leadership hates special operations, right? Another reason, and I think this one is probably the most common one, is at one point in time, those leaders went towards selection, whichever one, whether it's SEALs, Green Beret, MARSOC, combat controllers, etc., and they failed or they got screwed over, right? And that has left a bitter taste in their mouths to where every chance they get, they talk crap about Soft. And again, guys, if you're in that boat, it is what it is, right? Like, it is what it is. Just let me know in the comment section. But I've heard that happening multiple times, man, like countless times. Guys have reached out to me through my mentorship program, which again, greenberetchronicles.com if you want to jump on a call with me. And they tell me, hey, my first sergeant doesn't want me to go to selection. And I'm like, why? He's like, well, you know, he went back in the days as an E6 and, you know, he failed selection and he tells me how crappy it is and how I'm wasting my time, etc., etc. And I'll just tell those dudes like, bro, like, he's bitter, he failed, he hasn't gotten over that, but don't let that hold you back, because at the end of the day, going to selection is a DA, Department of the Army process. Your current leadership, your immediate leadership cannot stop you from going to selection, right? If they were, selection would be a lot freaking less. If they were, selection classes would be a lot smaller, right? At the end of the day, if you want to go to selection, it's just a matter of going to the Army recruiters, speaking with them and telling them that you want to go, and your leadership, whether they want to or not, they can't stop you, right? But countless stories I've heard, guys, between sergeant majors, first sergeants, platoon sergeants, captain majors, lieutenant colonels, that at one point in time wanted to pursue their dreams. They went to selection, they didn't make it, and now they're pushing off that freaking limited mindset on Joes and other guys that want to go, and they're keeping them from actually going and accomplishing their dreams, right? That's another reason why they have a bitter taste in their mouths towards special operations. But guys, share with me your experience, right? Like I said, everyone from, you know, for the most part, the ground pounders love us as far as special operations go, right? At least on the Green Beret side. But I've always had some animosity. I've always seen just crappy behavior coming out of the leaders when it comes to just Green Berets being around their soldiers, right? They always either say things like, hey, those guys are cowboys, right? They would always say stuff like, hey, those guys are cowboys. You don't want to go and hang around with them. Or those guys are going to corrupt you. They're going to pull you over to the dark side, etc. Like, there's always something. It's never, oh, you guys are awesome, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what it is, guys, but let's transition to this last topic. How to actually prepare for Special Forces assessment and selection, which is the 28-day selection course that Green Berets go through, right? And as a civilian, you can also apply some of these steps to whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, right? Whether it's running a marathon, whether it's physical goals for yourself, whether it's, you know, certain things for your family, like some of these steps still apply. You just have to know the process. So the very first thing that I need you guys to keep in mind and essentially identify is the need, is the reason to actually go to Special Forces assessment and selection, right? You got to know why you want to do a certain thing. That's the very first thing you need to do, right? The first thing that you need to do isn't going out and running miles. It's not about going out and rucking and putting a load on your back. That's not what it's about at all. That's not the very first thing that you need to do. The very first thing that you need to do is identify why you want to go to Special Forces. For me, 2008, just got back from a 15-month deployment, in Iraq. I was route clearing. So 15 months of looking for bombs and hoping nothing goes off, right? After that deployment, I made up my mind. I was like, nope, I'm done being reactive. I'm done just driving down the road and a bomb goes off and I got to go through my battle drill. At that point, I was 4 to 5 years into the military. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to be better. I want to be proactive instead of reactive. I made my decision. Oh, on top of that, I was looking at going to drill sergeant school too. I was like, I'm not doing that crap. I made my decision that, hey, I was going to go to selection and give it 120% because that's what I wanted for my life, right? Because at that point, the why, the reason why you want to do that thing is what's going to help you when you're at selection and you're sucking at life. The reason why you want to lose all that weight, that's what's going to help you whenever you're, it's 4 o'clock in the morning and you don't want to get up to go to the gym, right? The whatever reason is for whatever task it is that you're trying to accomplish, it has to be bigger and stronger than all the obstacles that you're going to face when you're in the trenches going through whatever it is that you're going through, right? So for me, whenever selection started to suck, I started thinking about, oh, I don't want to go to Iraq and get blown up and not be able to do about it. I don't want to freaking be mediocre. I don't want to do this. I don't want all these reasons as to why I wanted to go in the first place started to come up, right? And those helped me. They fueled me. They motivated me and they'd help me succeed. Once you've identified your why, now it's time to do like a true assessment of yourself, of where you're at. Okay, you want to go to special forces in selection, right? The why is strong. Now it's time for you to be honest with yourself and evaluate yourself. You know the standards. The standards are not secretive. It's out there as far as what you need to do to pass the PT test, to pass Land Nav, to be good at team week. Everything is out there. Now you need to evaluate yourself and be honest with yourself and figure out, okay, I'm a fat body. I'm not ready for selection. Or, okay, I'm a medium fat body. I need a little bit of work. I'm ready for selection. Or, hey, I'm in the best shape of my life, but I'm mentally weak. I'm not ready for selection, right? Once you have that honest assessment of yourself and where you're at, then you can go to work and create a plan to help you get there, right? And when I say create a plan, I'm not talking about going to some guru to help you create a physical fitness plan or a mental toughness plan or any of that stuff, right? Don't waste your money. I'm telling you right now, don't waste your money. Since the inception of selection, guys have been doing it without paying for shit. So there's no reason why you have to go spend your hard-earned money on programs to help get you ready for selection. Hell, when I went in 2008, none of that stuff existed, right? If you are able to truly be honest with yourself doing that assessment and realize that, hey, I'm weak at push-ups, or hey, I suck at running, that's all you need. And guess how you're going to get better at push-ups? Yeah, doing push-ups. I don't need to do CrossFits and all these weird exercises to be better at push-ups, man. All I have to do is do push-ups and you're going to be better at it, right? So again, once you have that assessment, then you can go to work and start building up for selection, right? Because as you're going through the process, guess what's happening, guys? Your body's getting stronger, but also your mind is also getting stronger. Every time you're doing push-ups and you're at like 101 and it sucks and you do 102, then 103, you're callousing your mind, right? As your body gets stronger, so is your mind, right? So once you're done with the physical aspects of things, guys, keep in mind, selection, I would say, is 20% physical, 80% mental. What do you mean by that, Jay? Guys, selection is designed to break you down. I don't care how good of a shape you're in. By the time you get to the end of week 3, everyone's going to be on the same playing field, right? Everyone's going to be on the same level. And then once you get to that point, it's going to be sheer will, grit, and tenacity. That's what's going to get you past week 3, all right? Guys, I hope that makes sense. It's not as hard as everybody think. It just takes a lot of accountability and self-reflecting, right? Where are you at? Why do you want to go? And are you willing to do the work? Everything else that you need is out there. You know, selection is week 1 is going to be a bunch of physical gates. Week 2 is going to be land nav. Week 3 is going to be team week, right? You know all of this information. It's out there, right? The internet has put all of that in front of you. However, not everyone is going to be willing to do that work. Everyone out there nowadays is looking for a shortcut. They're looking for an easy way out, right? They want to know, the 5 steps to getting selected, or the 10 steps to being physically shaped, or the 10 steps to be in the best shape of my life so I can go to selection, and all these freaking shortcuts. I'm here to tell you, the shortcuts don't exist, man. You just have to do the work. Do the work, know why you're doing the work, right? And enjoy the process. You do that, you're going to be just fine when you go to Special Forces assessment and selection, right? If I missed anything and you're out there, you've been there, you've done it, leave it in the comment section, right? For all these guys that are trying to go, because that's what it's about, man. Sharing the information to better the next generation, right? I appreciate you guys tuning in. Dark Arts Coffee Company, guys, grab you a bag. Dark Arts Coffee Foundation, if you need support, if you want to donate, go there also. GreenBeretChronicles.com, shop/mentorship. All of that is available for you guys. Reach out to me, whatever. That's what I'm doing now. Till next time, guys, take care of yourself.